They had trauma and nightmares after that game.
It was the low point for both teams, and it was also the catalyst for both teams to sort of catapult themselves out of that on what has been a bit of a meteoric rise for both since then. So this for me is going to be a nice punctuation mark, because I feel like that was play day 2 as well, if I'm right in remembering, Des, because Rogue had a terrible opener in play day 1 of stage 1, and then came into that match and didn't necessarily play better but got a result, and then it just seemed to really spark something within the team and fire them forward. So I'm interested to see. We're on play day 2 again. We're a nice even amount of time forward. You know, is the performance going to be better here today than it was in stage 1?
This is our 3rd Flores ban of the day as well. Games 1, 2 and 5 are seeing Flores banned away today. I think after seeing some teams make use of it last week, others are turning around and just saying, look, we don't want to deal with it. We've seen them boom bots tearing us apart. All 4 of them are an absolute nightmare to deal with. It's a few too many, so let's just get them off the board. Otherwise, the mirror that can often make the downstairs quite difficult to deal with, including some excellent holds up on the top floor, going to be taken away by Rogue. The Thatcher kicking things off at the very start comes as no big surprise, and our final ban, I was going to say, likely to be the Valkyrie on a map like this. Indeed, it is. And that's going to be our 4 bans locked in for this showdown. And to me, Ace, at least, Fluke said quite well on the desk, is that you look at the gun capability on the side of a team like Rogue, it's very hard to argue that they are up there with one of the best gunning teams in all of Europe. Where I have some concern for them in this game is after seeing what Secret did last week to Na'Vi, gave them all the run-of-the-mill in the early round, but it came to the late round, the composure from Secret really started to shine, and they won a number of rounds in those dying 15, 20 seconds or so. If Rogue can't get to a point where they can break them apart in the second half of a round, I think Secret could potentially take this game. And it could be a really interesting one. I think all 3 of these last 3 games have been real belters to predict and really difficult and highly entertaining from what we've seen so far of the previous 2. I hope this one really rounds things out nicely with a bang.
It's been a tough night all round, to be fair, to make, accurate predictions, because so many of the games have been at least close on paper. They've not necessarily been close in terms of the score lines, but they've been very, very difficult to call. The last one that we saw, Vitality BDS, being, no stranger to that situation either. But here we go with Team Secret versus Rogue. We load into round 1. We're going to be going to Archives and Tellers to begin with Team Secret on the defence. Nothing drastically unusual in terms of the line out, although we do have the Castle. Now, it is one that does get brought along from time to time for Archives and Tellers, but not necessarily every single time. So it'd be interesting to see where those barricades get played. Yeah,
it's really up to you. Some teams use them on the downstairs to stop any kind of crazy flank coming out, often on the double doorway leading across into lockers itself, and a couple then committed on the ground floor to help at the very least prevent pushes coming in from lobby side up towards Spiral and then into the room itself. But time will tell. We've also seen a couple of teams get quite cheeky with using them on the defensive side, one hitting them out the way and then taking down the operator that's on the other side, thinking they're completely safe because there's a castle barricade in the way. So plenty of room to see something a little bit crazy coming out. Interestingly for me, Rips bringing along the gridlock rather than, say, the Nomad that we're very used to seeing on this map's a cool one. You often see that brought when you want to be able to lock down areas inside the map rather than looking strictly, outside as Nomad would help for. You've also got a couple of smokes on side that you can make good use of if you want to use that cover whilst going for a plan.
Gompy holding a nice angle there from the Visa stairs, just having opened up the soft wall, and it gives him a nice peek through onto those admin windows. Now, as the man rappels in, he will miss his shots, doesn't quite manage to make anything land onto Cryin, who does establish himself inside of admin, so that's a good first step for Rogue. What they're attempting to do here is get control of admin to begin with. That then allows them to apply vertical pressure down into the area that we're looking at inside of Visas. This can take control of Tellers, which is the upstairs of the 2 sites, and then that allows them to potentially get a plant down. Whilst the defenders, they'll keep a couple of men down in Archives looking for that vertical denial using the nitros. We can see they've still got a couple on the board. Pack Bull does get taken down with one in hand though. Leon Gids coming in with a great entry to start Rogue off.
Ace has called his way down Visa as well. At least the sound of that Gon 6 is going to give his position away here, so shouldn't be able to, well, at least alongside of Secret, they should have an idea of loosely where he is, but I imagine no one really wants to spring into action just yet. It'll be Hive elsewhere, bringing down Corey. So, a 4 versus 4, and Rogue has stalled out, it feels slightly. Yes, they found the opener, they've got control of admin, but where they push forward from here seems to be a little bit of a sticking point. They've got plenty of time to work with, the proximity to site isn't particularly high, and Secret are still playing this disruptive style. Last week on Clubhouse, they constantly had 2 men out on the roam here. They're always like nipping at the heels here of Rogue, but Aces is just better. 2 kills coming through, and it's going to have to be Sleben trying to go for a rotate away. It may find himself with trouble at the bottom of the stairs. Not to be the case, but have they still got this vertical control? Because Sleben could get into a great power position, finds one, can't spray through the wall until the man steps off, sprays Leon in the feet, down about 30 HP, but that planter is down, or the plant, sorry, is down. Diffuser is ready, and it's going to be a bit of a twist here, I think, for Secret to be able to swing the round back from a 3 versus 2.
I'd have to agree, especially as Leon manages to take Gomfi down, bringing us now to a 3 versus 1 Diffuser on the ground, and it just feels like Team Secret left things a little bit too late there, Des. They were pushed, they were pummeled in the early round by Rogue. Aces coming in with a really important 2k in the mid-round, and that really swung things in Rogue's favour and just gave them the space that they needed. And despite a valiant effort towards the end there, Secret, like I say, just too little too late. They were unable to get themselves into those key positions that would have allowed them to stop Leon getting that Diffuser on the ground, and it just felt like a matter of time from there on.
Yeah, didn't need to push too aggressively or take too much of the map, just took enough to make a plant happen and quite comfortably got away with it. Normally when plants like that are coming through, you'd be asking questions on the defensive side of, well, where are the C4s? Normally they come singing up from below, they connect onto the floor, they explode, holes everywhere. It's not a safe place to be inside of the room with the site, and before you know it, guess what? You're pretty much all dead off the back of the C4s, but in that particular round there was no real vertical denial. For Leon, it was a simple job of vaulting through the window, get the plant down behind the reinforced wall, and even with Sleben's flank up on the top floor, that reinforced wall they'd set up came back to bite them a little bit, and you saw exactly how things played out. So with the offsite completed in our first round, we'll go to a more conventional one in round number 2. It's going to be stepping into Garage and Cafeteria here, seeing if Secret can bounce back from it or if Rogue carry on with what so far has been a solid start to their attack.
Certainly has. So we're going to be heading, as you say, down to Garage. Packbull has brought along the Echo now. Packbull was the opening death last time around, something he's really going to need to avoid here. Of course, those yokai drones are so powerful in the late round to enable the defenders to prevent those plants being confirmed. So Packbull definitely needing to keep himself under better cover than he was able to last time. Now, interesting pre-placed Nitro there from Gomfi. It's going to lead up into Copy. And I always like to watch them, Des. I love a good pre-placed Nitro myself, as you know, but I'm not sure how much information there's going to be to support that attempt here. Of course, they've got Sleben who could capture a drone, but they don't have any opportunity really for putting any cams up there or anything that's going to feed them information as to there being somebody present.
I mean, I think at this point it doesn't matter because all of Rogue are also pushing in from the west. I think you had Aces coming through the main door, but outside of that, everyone is pushing either down yellow or looking to get their way straight in. And look at this, they've basically got behind Hive here, and he has no idea where's the cover from his team behind him. And at this point, I imagine Secret are in panic. Packbull is the only other one. They've completely lost control of sight. Everyone else is reeling and racing back, and Aces has got the long angles set up. He's not going to be too much of a worry here as long as he brings down Sleben. Job done. Finds one, finds two. They're making it look like child's play. Keenan gets one back, but in a 1 versus 4 with the plant already down, Rogue have completely caught Secret off guard, and this should be the second round going their way.
Absolutely fantastic play from Aces there, going through that Secret rear guard like a knife through butter, Des. It was just easy for him to pick up those 2 kills. Now Keenan, he gets in and makes a best attempt at it, manages to find himself 2, but they will be impactless kills as Rogue, they were too well set at that point. Diffuser was down, they were in full post-plant mode and able to shut it down. Rogue looking very good on the attack in the first 2 rounds.
I think you expect the breach to get opened up quite quick normally. Most teams get it in about 45 seconds or so, and just the sheer fact that it's open presents a threat. Phantom pressure is what I've called it for the longest time. The same reason why if you shoot out doors or windows, the defenders don't know if at any given time an attacker is going to come peeking through it or running through there and try and give you a rough time. We saw it in the last map a couple of times. Rise coming charging his way up Spiral, for example, straight towards yellow. Didn't quite win the gunfight against the Lems, who was holding halfway up it. But again, it's the fact that someone could be there that you constantly have to give attention to it, commit a drone towards watching it, for example. Only there, I think for Rogue, it was well, the breach is open, so we're going to run right through it right now. We've got 2 players coming down yellow. We've got 1 going behind white van. Hive had no idea that he was surrounded on every single side by 3 or 4 players, and you saw the mad scramble for Secret. So, some work to do, no doubt, on that front. Packbull starting off on the downstairs with this Kaid here, no doubt going to electrify these up, but it isn't actually the ultimate, basement defense here. It's a ground floor one inside of press and lobby. So to me, if nothing else, that just screams he wants to waste a little bit of time. Don't give them the control below, because as we saw a couple of days ago, grenades from downstairs, I think it was Kavana that did it in last week's play. A nade from basement up into bathroom, very comfortably killed a player. You need to try and contest that downstairs for as long as you can.
Oh, you can have a massive impact from the basement, that much is for sure, but generally the weight of the attack is going to come across the top floor. It's going to be a case of getting, clear everybody out of connector, out of meeting, get proper top floor control, have that locked down. They've got the gridlock. Rips would look to apply those track stingers to the stairs so they know they're secure up there, get the vertical pressure, and then aim to get the diffuser down inside of sight and activated. But they're going to have a few secret players to go through before they get to that point. Sleben's waiting, Nitro in hand. He is likely to be drawn out here. I think Leon Gids will almost certainly have seen his feet there. Out comes the Nitro, but Rogue are smart enough to not have anybody on rappel at this point in time. Opening kill once again for Rogue. That's 3 rounds and 3 opening kills, giving themselves a great start on Packville Des. He is stuttering. He is not getting started here.
No, but unfortunately being 0-3 to kick things off, although we spoke about a few players last week, and Arctic being one that jumps to mind for Kavana, who's struggling in the first few rounds because a lot of their play or focus is around the team. And here he's kind of in no man's land, playing on the Kaid, holding off by himself, trying to keep the wall electrified, for example. You'll find yourself an unfortunate gunfight. It's Comfy with a good swing onto Cryin. Finds that one for himself. Does go down to about 60 HP in the process, and no doubt going to be a bit of a lean towards Rogue if it comes down to any future gunfights against him. But at 4 versus 4, still plenty of time to play. Not too worried for Rogue just yet, but let's see what else they can achieve on this top floor.
A little bit of a lull in the action now as Rogue just settle in, trying to find another pick or two and give themselves a man advantage before they think about that final push onto site. Hive is holding them off at the minute from connector, and Aces maybe just needs a little bit of support here, because if he pushes up those Visa stairs, he's funneled into a single doorway, and Hive is the sort of player that is likely to take that opportunity. But no, Aces finds him with a headshot on the reverse angle there, and that is great aggression from Aces. I think he had a little bit of support from Corey. I don't know whether that's taken Hive's eye off the ball a little bit. He's got 2 angles to watch, but that is exactly what was needed to give Aces that opportunity. Now, watching out for that main door push, because they know that top floor control is lost here, and there could be an opportunity for Rogue to get themselves in and get that diffuser down. So Team Secret almost setting themselves up now for that possibility.
So kind of lull in the middle of the round while everyone gets squared up for what's going on. Aces, patient as a saint in that initial fight coming through onto yellow. But I think with the kill coming in there, they know the numbers advantage is with them. They have an idea that 1 or 2 will be forced back a little bit here, and right they would be. You got Keenan dialed all the way back in towards yellow, which means sight might be a little bit light. You got Gonfeet playing below with the C4, waiting for a denial potentially onto main door. But Leon's tucked himself in from the north here. If Sleben steps out and wins this first gunfight, they could achieve a lot here. But with the smoke coming out, now he needs to move. The gridlock coming into effect for the first time. Can't win a gunfight as all 3 members of Rogue converge. A triple kill coming out for Rips. And something tells me there's going to be no coming back here. Gonfeet finds a double, but Aces converts into a close. Rogue are running away with this, it feels like. A Secret looking completely lost on how to deal with the calm, patient aggression, which sounds very weird to say, coming out of Rogue.
That was a great attack from Rogue. It's just, it was just step by step. It was just absolutely brilliant. It was take the top floor. No rush, no panic, just move across and carefully do.
I tried to do it a bit better than this.
Which way do I need to go?
Figure it out, mate. Come on.
I don't want to come
on, Ace Detective. You can do it.
You know, they were moving up there. They were just patient about it. They didn't go over the top. It was just really well played by Rogue. And that final play to get the diffuser down on the ground was just absolutely clinical. And what a decision from Leon not to go too far, knowing there was the potential for that C4 from underneath. Just
going to tell you, Ace, you'd be absolutely crap at hide and seek, given how big your head is behind this tree.
I mean, it's not that big in real life.
Are you sure? We'll find out when you get back in the studio next week, mate. But no, I think you are right here. And I think for Secret, it's a good call to have the tactical timeout right now and just say, look, we're crumbling. The defenses are falling to tatters. You know, we're taking these longer angle engages. Like, for example, when you had Aces coming up Visa, he's been there for 2 or 3 rounds now. That is his place on this map. We're losing gunfights to him. He's taking in the control he needs. 1 round he walked away with 2k there. The previous round he just cleared out connector comfortably, so there was no control of the top floor, which enabled them to go for that very comfortable plan in combo with the gridlock, also locking down anti-chamber. They had the longer angle down towards yellow from Spiral, cut off as well. it's just like Rogue are taking what they need and no more. They didn't need full meeting control. They didn't need to completely clear the top floor. They were like, if you guys want to play there, fine. You want to have someone on yellow? Fine. We don't care. As long as we've got our angles watched, that's what we care about the most.
That's exactly the point. Like you say, it's just efficiency. It's just, knowing exactly what is needed for what they're trying to achieve. They knew where that plant was going to go down. That wasn't opportunistic. That was always the plan. And they've just taken exactly what they needed to facilitate that. The smoke canisters were perfect, forcing Sleben to move through without a line of sight, gave them a free kill as he then approached the round desk. It was just really, really well played from Rogue. And honestly, if that continues, Secret are going to have a real struggle on their hands over the next 3 rounds whilst they're defending.
Yeah, bit of a rehost ongoing here. A technical pause, I suppose you can call it. Bit of a sound bug by the looks of it for Crying coming out. So once that's resolved, we will get back into things. A little more of a talking time, I guess, coming out for Secret here. And they'll be thanking their lucky stars that they've got this time. Sometimes 60 seconds might not quite be enough. But I think on their side, the one thing you're looking at is who's going to be that big hero player? Who's really going to take this game by the horns and steer it towards having an advantage on their side? Because you'd look towards last week and say, Keenan played pretty well. He could do something like that. But this is where I said in the pregame I was worried for them, is that you're coming up against a team of all highly capable gunners. Aziz on his day. There is rarely a better fragger in EU when he's on that day, but sometimes a little bit inconsistent. We've all seen what Leon can do in the past as well. Corey on his right day, absolute monster. And Rips has already been shown today what he can do. The list goes on. You could talk forever about these boys, about how well and how capable they are. Secret need to be able to step up against that. Otherwise, that conversation that we've had previously about them, relegation, does it start to loom over them? It comes back into the picture again.
It does, and I've already said it about Vitality today, and I will say the same about Rogue. These two teams are going to be banging on the door come the end of this stage. Make no mistake about it. They are going to be the ones fighting for top spot, second spot, third spot. Yep. They are going to want to be up there in the mix, and right now they're looking good for it. That's all I can say. They've got players who, like you say, individually are playing fantastically well. They're finding the kills, they're hitting the shots, but also as a team they are working well together. There's a common purpose. There's just a confidence in exactly what they're going for and what they want to do, and right now Secret have got absolutely no answer to that. We've got to look at week 1 and say, was that a bit of a honeymoon? It's the new team coming together, and sometimes you do get these sort of just great early spells that then sort of peter out a little bit. And, I'm not getting on that too soon. We're only 3 rounds in, but some of the players that were really playing well back in Play Day 1, struggling to make any impact so far.
That's a quick question for you. What we've seen so far, we've seen 3 rounds of this game, but basically seen a full complete Play Day 2. Who are your top 4 teams at the minute?
Top 4 at the minute, I would say Vitality, BDS, Rogue, and I'd say Navi.
No Kavana in the mix for you?
Yeah. Not at the moment. I don't think at the moment. I think they had a very good result today, but I think
need more.
It was tight against Vitality. They played one of the top teams in Vitality, but just need a little bit more.
A little bit more. Maybe it'll build over the stage if you guys have got the game sound in your ear, but we are now loading back in. So in just a second, we will be back into the game. We can see how this first half of Consulate is playing out. In case you're just joining us, currently 3-0 to Rogue. They have looked prolific on their attacks. They have looked composed, controlled, not taking any more than they need, but just enough to be able to pull off a very confident execute without any surprises. Secret, the ones now going to be trying to scrap for an idea in their minds, no doubt taking these couple of timeouts to have a conversation about what needs to change, because if it doesn't change right now, Rogue are very comfortably, I think at least, on their way to a 6-0 half.
It certainly seems that way, because Secret haven't really been close in any of these rounds so far. Now, we look at Team Secret, and it's really difficult to predict what they're going to do, Des, because obviously we've had those player changes. We've only seen them play as this roster once. So it's sort of difficult to say, are they able to turn this around? How will they play when their back's against the wall? And that's really fascinating to me, because this is where we're really going to find out about part of the character of this team.
All 3 passes you just saw being deployed inside of admin as well, so a bit of a hold intended in there. Also a castle barricade going down onto the double wall that leads from front desk in towards console. So quite a heavy setup coming in on the top floor for the split site setup once more. Last time round, Rogue quite comfortably got control of admin. And once they had control of that, we spoke about it at the time. For Leon, it was a simple job of kill a couple of players, or at least for the team. Aces had control of Visa Stairs. Leon vaults in from playing inside of Visa into Tellers, plants, rounds done. It's as simple as that, and they didn't need any more. So the onus is on Secret to be the ones that change here for Rogue. They can just go for the same thing again.
Sleben tried, as you say, exactly this last time. Nitro in hand, we saw it completely ineffective, and once again exactly the same. His throw was a little bit better this time. It didn't catch the window frame like it did last time. Yeah. Aces was on the rappel. Had he gone to the right side, he may well have had some joy there, but Aces just one step ahead and kept himself out of the way of danger. He's going to keep working on the rappel there to look and see if he can find a kill, but he might find himself being challenged. He just needs to be careful because Hype is getting aggressive on these windows here. Just looking to find his man now. Shots coming through the soft wall. He's going to survive, but then shut down by Cryan with a nice headshot, leaving us 5 versus 4. And Rogue, once again, Des, 4th round in a row, taking the opener.
Yeah, I mean, Cryan there, I thought for a second was really unlucky because he peaked like half a second too late. Then Hype steps back up for the challenge once more, and you see exactly how that bites him. Leon being probably the 5th victim of the day of the F key to pick up the diffuser there. I think running over it was like, oh, got to turn around and pick it back up. Cryan making it a second. Gomfi rotating his way back up yellow, and you can see these orange outlines now starting to spread across the admin side of the map. Again, taking the control they need and no more, but also keep a close eye on Corey and any potential flanks that he can pull off as the round progresses.
Keenan gets things started with a headshot from the Alder, bringing us back to 3 versus 4, and Pipe Bull keeps himself hidden. Leon absolutely no idea there. And you've got to ask what's going on with the Rogue drones. Cryan gets his 3rd on the round, but then shut down with a headshot from Gomfe. 2 versus 2 now, with a minute still on the clock, so plenty of time for the attackers. They don't need to rush, but what they do need to do is make sure they're not going in blind, Des, which is exactly what they've been caught out with again as Gomfe finds that man on the spiral stairs. 2 versus 1 now, and this is a big turnaround as Rips finds himself on the back foot. 45 seconds left to go.
I think I know about the man here at the end. Does get for the little flick shot down, but can't quite connect onto the head of Gomfi. It's turning into a bit of a scrap up here at the desk. No one quite connecting a kill for Keenan to step up Spiral and take the closing shot. Much better, I'd say, from Secret, but for Rogue, you clearly saw in the mid-round that 2 of those kills did come from no flank drones, no awareness of 1 where Patbull was, or 2 where whoever it was on the top floor a second ago, I had his name, and as I started saying the sentence, it went from my mind, Gomfi, sorry, that he wasn't coming across from yellow stairs and rotating past both desks. Unfortunately, not going to work out for them, but for Secret, it's a start.
It is a start, and that's exactly what they needed because they haven't got started as of yet. So coming into round number 5, we're going to be heading back down to that basement level. It's going to be down to Garage once again. We saw this played back in round number 2. It's funny, really. Team Secret have still gone through their defensive rotation. Despite that being the first time that they've won, they have opted to move on every single time rather than trying to go back to a site and adapt to what Rogue have brought to them. But given the way those first 3 rounds went, that's not necessarily too much of a surprise because Rogue were really on top of things. Now, we're going to be heading in. Last time around, it was a win for Rogue here on Garage. The attack coming, if you remember from the rear, Des Ace has managed to get himself down into archives and got himself 2 great kills from the rear side after Leon had already gone in and got 1 as well. So they got that wall open very quickly. A lot of focus went on to the breach, and then they just moved in from behind and cleaned them up, and that was pretty much that in terms of the defence for Team Secret. So I'm sure they're going to learn the lesson. I don't think Rogue will try it again, if I'm honest.
I can't imagine you'll see them be so... What's the word I'm looking for here? So brave about it, I agree. I think sending, 2 players coming down yellow, 1 to rotate round the back of White Van, 1 to push in straight forward as soon as the breach is opened up at like the 2-minute mark. Yeah, no doubt that would have been off the back of them having drones around the map and identifying, okay, there are 2 or 3 roamers for the side of Secret here. Let's just press in, try and get these couple of kills, take a trade if we have to, and we can get a plant down. Because we as casters constantly say this, when you're planting inside a garage, at least just inside the breach, it is one of the hardest sites to retake because the attackers can scatter to the winds. If they have control of piano, great. You've then got to go and take vertical control. If they're back outside the map, they can have an seemingly endless number of angles onto that diffuser itself. It becomes really hard to go for the retake, so I understand it. But here for Secret, I think you'll find them much quicker to rotate back to site as and when needed. And at least for Rogue side, they've got 2 or 3 players looking to push inside of admin and start a full clear of the map. So contrary to what they've done previously, where they've just taken what they've needed, here it's looking like it might be a full map clear.
Yeah, just switching things up a little bit. And the thing is, that'll keep Team Secret guessing because, you know, they may well have reacted and thought, right, okay, Rogue are just going to go route one and head into sight. Whereas now they're having to adapt in the mid-round. They're having to change things up and think, actually, there's pressure going to mount from a number of locations here. If the full map clearance is coming in, then we don't necessarily know where they're going to push. We haven't opened the breach yet, so it's not going to come from that side at this moment in time. But we still need to be aware of Yellow Door. We still need to be aware of Piano and the vertical angles. And so Team Secret need to adapt and they need to move around the map and try to get themselves on the flanks of Rogue here because they didn't have anybody on the top floor to start. They didn't have anybody in unpredictable locations to begin with.
No, I mean, here it's looking a lot more conventional compared to what you, well, supposed to stack up against what you'd normally see on this kind of site. You get piano control, you open the soft flooring, you destroy the gadgets from above, you restrict the defenders downstairs because they can't move so freely. Breach opens up, you go for a plant behind the white van, and hopefully you have those vertical angles to cover. It's pretty 1, 2, 3 basics on Consulate. However, these longer angles from Gonfi, he might catch the man as he comes running in if they've got this set up just about right. But again, you've got to worry about that vertical pressure that's being set up. Otherwise, he might get forced away.
You saw it beautifully from Gonfi there, as you said, as he was so focused on the breach, and then as soon as there was that first hit from the sledge up above him, it just forced his eye away. It just forced him to move. Now he tries to take the challenge there, and he is keeping himself behind the bomb chassis for the time being, but Corey is still doing a lot of work upstairs on the vertical destruction. Sleben's going to find the first kill onto Aces. It's the first one Team Secret have had as an opener so far, and they need to double down on it. They need to now use that manpower advantage. 5 versus 4, 15 seconds left to go. Rogue need to get themselves inside the breach here. There are still Yokai drones that could play a part. Keenan tries to get the diffuser down. 2 kills coming from Rips. 4 versus 3. Leon at Izu collects the diffuser and tries to get it down again. The kills are raining in for Rogue here. 3 versus 1 now as it's all up to Gonfi on the Kaid. This one is done, Des. There is no way he wins this back. It is one of the hardest retakes in Siege. He's one hit away from dying from most guns. There you go. Comes in from Cryon. 1 shot is all it takes. Nice round for Rogue again.
We really need to celebrate Rogue's team play, by the way. The fact that they've got such good cover there, they picked up 3 kills whilst the plant was going down, tells you the full story. They're looking confident. They're playing as a cohesive unit. You've got guys stepping up and putting big numbers on the board. We've already spoke about Aces and Cryon a little bit today. It's great stuff coming out of them. Very, very convincing. And I honestly thought we'd see more of a fight coming out of Secret, to be completely honest. But you know, as probably as crude as it is to say, they are being outclassed and outgunned ultimately right now by Rogue.
This is the top and bottom of it. As you say, I think more than anything for me, Des, we've said it a few times, they're being out team played. You know, Rogue right now are just so fantastically cohesive when they go in on those attacks. I mean, there was a great example there. We had the diffuser going down and it was stopped. And then Leon immediately had the diffuser in hand and was planting it again. You know, there was no hesitation there for that attempt to keep going down, and you should absolutely love to see it.
You do. Maybe less so if you're a Secret fan right now, admittedly.
Probably a Secret fan or player, not too keen.
Yeah, completely less so. Let's see then how their final defensive round goes before Rogue switch over to the defensive side, and we can see what they can achieve here. This is one that we've seen quite a few times. Sometimes you see the shield placed either here or it's a little bit further forward, just inside of the lobby itself, intended to help you combat onto the default plant that sometimes comes inside a lobby. The risk of putting it a bit further forward being it's easy to catch out for a Zofia or an Ash, for example. In its current spot, you can have a position where there's ADSs inside of antechamber. They're not so easy to clear out, so the shield will stay protected. That's just one part of this defense, mind you, because the most important one, like you said earlier on, Ace, is all about this vertical setup. If you look up towards the top floor now, you'll see those mute jammers being placed down. Gonfi holding fast with a shotgun, daring anyone to try and challenge into him.
I mean, he's already played very well there. We saw him step out and get himself a really nice peek onto Visa Stairs last time he was trying to defend that area. So we'll see if he can replicate that or not. Corey already in very quickly. I'm not sure if Secret are being quite aggressive enough on the defence here, Des. I mean, we've seen them play Sleben in there on the Mozzie to try and keep hold of admin and not really be successful. It's just forced them back out of there. They're just basically giving that up as free real estate now to Rogue, who are able to just go in, get their beachhead, establish themselves and start moving forward. And that could be a bit of a problem for Team Secret because it means that they're constantly playing on the back foot. They're constantly having to react to what Rogue are doing.
I think it was Rise who said it last week after their victory over Kavana, where he was saying like people just don't hold admin enough. Like it's easy to be aggressive in there. Admittedly, we saw Kavana try and do it and they got absolutely slapped down by Vital reality. So it's not that easy, I'm afraid, Bryce. But when you played the game as long as you have, and we spoke about Yellow Stairs in his interview, maybe it is a little more comfortable. But definitely one of those ones that I'd like to see teams making better leverage of and defending more aggressively. Think about G2 versus VP with the mirror windows inside a break room. You haven't strictly got to play inside there. Just be prepared to challenge into admin a little bit more is the way that I look at it, and try and waste a good amount of time.
Well, I was going to say, I think that's potentially a big deciding factor here, Des. Obviously, Mirror's banned out this time, and G2, I think, is a great example of holding on to admin, and they did it so well, but the Mirror window was pivotal to what they were doing, and I think that's probably playing a big factor here, with Team Secret maybe not feeling like they've got the utility they need to mount a strong defence of that area, and then once Rogue have got the beachhead, they take advantage of it. Slepen's absolute fractions of millimetres away from a potential kill onto Aces there, but he's just keeping himself from being exposed quite nicely as he keeps challenging onto that main door.
Doesn't want to step back too far here, but he did it just as a second. Aces does take a small chip on the shoulder, about 15 HP coming off, but nowhere near enough to put him down. That's going to definitely put the fear of God into him, I think. No longer want to be stepping so aggressively around that corner. But I think equally, identify the secret side. You can't play against that anti-window now that they've seen you there once. You do have to back away a little bit. Here comes the plant, though, coming out of Leon Ace.
Certainly trying the Yokai drones, disrupting him once again, and we're seeing this G2 technique of dropping it down the hatch and then jumping back up 2 floors to try and deny, but it doesn't matter because the kills come in for Rogue, and Leon's getting the diffuser down once again. Yokai drone comes in again though and manages to disrupt the plant. 3 seconds left to go. Sleben steps out with a really important kill, and that's going to be the round going to Team Secret, and it all comes down to the clock.
Comes down to the clock, comes down to the Yokais, the information being fed back and forth between members for a start, as well as the extra delay. What I loved is when you saw the first Yokai drop back down, you saw the second one right next to it, ready to also bounce up. Just taking it in turns like a yo-yo, going up and down, blasting onto Leon as he tried to plant. And all he could do is sit there pretty helpless, unable to respond as they hadn't cleared out the bare basics in a way. We speak about the vertical control below. We spoke about the reinforcements coming out and the Kai Electro Claws in a former round. This time round, it looks like Rogue didn't deal with it, and it came back to bite them. 4-2 at the half, not a terrible outcome for Team Secret, but we're going to have to see some magic on the attack, I think, if we're going to have any chance of this going anywhere near a victory for them, or even overtime to guarantee them at least a couple of points.
Yeah, I think Rogue here, it's going to be an interesting round or two because we've got that side switch now and they need to maintain that momentum as they move on to the defence. They've done fantastically well on the attack there to get themselves this 4-2 advantage coming into the second half. They just need to make sure that they don't allow Team Secret to have a run back at them now. Team Secret getting themselves a round one at a good time there, just getting it over the line before the half, and it just potentially changes that momentum a little bit. But for my money, Rogue, they've been playing very well as a team, but they've been winning gunfights as well. They've been coming in very strong, Crying and Rips particularly, doing great to get rounds over the line. So I think they'll be looking to continue that on the defence here, and just Team Secret, I'm not sure they've been taking enough initiative to come in and have a strong attack.
And Mozzie being brought out for Aces. Same way that that Secret employed it earlier on. Admittedly to mixed effects, we saw it being deployed, as you mentioned, at some point as well. It was being used inside of admin on all the windows, just to try and, I suppose, inhibit or slow Rogue down. But at one point, they were just throwing drones into the pest for fun, just saying, look, they need to be gone. Don't care about it too much. They did find one left on the window and shot it off not too long after. But it was more of a, look, it's not the end of the... Oh, no!
That is beautiful and disgusting all at the same time. I've nearly getting a second headshot onto the connector window there. That is about as beautiful a one-tap as you are likely to see in pro play.
Ugh. I'm still fighting to speak or breathe. That was disgusting. Fair play, Hive. Fair damn play. Let's see how it plays out further then with the one kill on their side. That should give them some momentum. Indeed, it will. Leon, the second one to go down as Hive collects a second onto Rips in the round. For all intents and purposes, that may as well be 3, as it might be a bit of a risk for the Rogue team members, Corey and Aces, to be able to recover their fallen comrade Leon, who's playing inside of Anti. Sleben, I think, knows at this point is a repel in and finish off the final kill. In fact, no, Patbull steals it away at the last second, and after doing so, he should be able to convert this into a plant. Sleben to get the next. It looks like Secret are bouncing back here, all off the back of that opening naughty shot coming out of Hive. Rogue with barely a response in this round. One will be found by Aces, but that is about it. Maybe the first round you can put down and say, okay, you've had your breathing room now, boys. Let's get back in focus, else you'll risk this one slipping away to Team Secret.
Secret just completely flipping things on the head here in round number 7, coming in with a great attack, just really taking the initiative. As I said, it's something that they failed to do, but Hive just getting aggressive in that early round, straight onto those spawn peaks, absolutely no fear, and I'm sure that he has taught Rogue a lesson there and is maybe just going to calm them down a little bit. I think after that first half, they'd done extremely well and probably coming in with a lot of confidence, thinking that they might just be able to have the run of things here on the defence, but that is absolutely not going to be the case. Aces unable to do anything about the diffuser there, just lets the time tick by, a bit of an unofficial timeout as the team no doubt had an opportunity just to discuss what went wrong in that round. But
I was about to joke about him saving KD and he just owns up to it. He fesses.
A big part of what went wrong in that first round was the very near double kill from Hive at the beginning, Des. It wasn't just the one that he got. He almost found one onto connector window as well. You can't be losing men to attackers from that range.
Absolutely not. Alrighty, 6th pick away from the Oryx onto the Maestro here for Corey, I believe is going to be the play. That very, very valuable on the downstairs. The Oryx, a little bit less so, but with the Maestro at least you can put it on the ground floor, inside of the garage itself, see under the white van, under the black car, for example, and just get some laser shots firing back and forth, which can inhibit a planter in this case. A bit of a replay of that naughty, filthy one-tap, by the way. Good night. That was the sound of Kryan's head exploding.
Absolutely wonderful shot. Just the thing is, the vision to see that at that distance. He had a gate in his way. There was, you know, a bit of foliage. There's all sorts going on there that can distract your eye. And he's seen at that range, maybe 2 pixels change colour. You know, that is unbelievable.
You know what it is, Ace? It's a man that has played a bit too much ranked and is bored of getting spawn peeped by people like Spoit all the time and just knows what an operator's head looks like now.
Yeah, that's the only way to do it. The thing is, the reality is at that distance, that's what you're looking for is colour change.
Yeah.
You know, more than anything, you lock into an image, and as soon as a couple of pixels change colour, that's it. You know that there's movement there.
You say
and that's all they can play off.
That is literally exactly what happened to Kendra. Remember back when he was on Na'Vi, they were playing on this map actually. He was holding from front desk through to yellow, and I think it was Doki or someone like ran around in front of him to go into bathroom from behind him. And as soon as like the reticule colour, like not reticule colour, but the pixels in front of him changed, he just sprayed and team killed. And everyone was like, "What the bloody hell did you just do?" And he explained after, like, you're so hyper focused on those pixels changing. As soon as it changes, you just click, and then your brain is just like almost in a total subconscious state where it just does it naturally, even without you thinking. And it's really fascinating when that sort of thing plays out. Less so when it's a TK, of course, but still beautiful how honed in players can be on those individual pixels changing.
Oh, absolutely. It's complete laser focus. And talking about laser focus, there's perfect timing as Keenan takes the head off Leon Gids. Leon's been a little bit quiet over the last couple of rounds. He really did have a big start at the beginning of things here. But Hive, yep, he finds one onto Rips, and that is the Jaeger and the Malusi gone. And 5 versus 3. Once again, Rogue find themselves on a massive back foot here as they are trying to defend. And the wheels are coming off a little bit. We were waxing lyrical about this Rogue team in the first 6 rounds and how well they'd worked together as a team. But right now, they just can't seem to win a gunfight. But Corey and Kryan, they find 2 headshots onto Hive from Packbull, but it doesn't matter. Secret, they press pause, back off, and then come back at them a second later and find 1. Kryan it is, left all alone, 1 versus 3. Out goes the Nitro, nothing doing there. It's time to get the diffuser down, Secret.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the big hold-up is here. They know that he was lurking around upstairs. They heard the air jab go off and must know that he'd be skulking around this hatch or looking to come down. Spiral or some other kind of push. He go for a hot drop here. That's exactly what he'll do, but there's a man in cafeteria watching him. It's Gomfy. Secret have balanced things out at 4 apiece, and after how the first 4 or 5 rounds played out, I did not expect to be saying that, but their attacks are looking clean. They are daring Rogue to peek them one more time because we've seen how that constantly keeps working out every time they step up to a window.
Well, I asked the question at the beginning, as I said, you know, is there a potential that the honeymoon period is over a little bit? You know, they've come in, they've had that big first week, but Secret showing that that is absolutely not the case. And as I said, this is what we want to see from Secret. This is an unknown team. It's untested as a roster, and we don't know the depth of their character. And right now, they're showing us that it's pretty deep, Des. There is more depth to be plumbed here. There is more to be seen. Can they take this all the way and get the map, for example? But they have fought back hard here. They were really lacking. They were 4-1 down and struggling to get themselves into rounds, and they've brought that all the way back level. That is great resilience from Team Secret.
Okay, let's see what they can do then in the next few rounds. Of course, we go all the way up to 6-6 potentially here, so there are 4 more rounds for this game to go back and forth. I don't think the tale is yet done for Rogue. There is every chance for them to bounce things back here and have a good round or two in them. With 3 C4s on side and the Oryx this time actually being locked in, Maestro still being brought along. This is feeling a bit more like a, I don't want to say a standard setup for this site, but it is very common to see Maestro Evil Eyes placed inside of the site to feed the information for the C4s in case something like the pulse goes down or you just need a little bit of extra help.
Leon's going to be all the way down in the basement on the pulse here. No surprises there. It's a very popular spot now. We've seen it for years and years effectively because that pulse scanner can see all the way up to the top level. So if you get anybody on the rappel on the windows, for example, Leon will be able to pick those up. Unless you're right on the top of the ceiling line as Gomfi keeps himself just out of
I swear he would have saw him then.
out of the information scope of Leon there and very nearly sees him through 2 floors there, but doesn't manage to quite pick up the shot. And Gomfi, he's going to drop himself down. Needs to be careful because the lower he drops there, he will end up putting himself in range of that heartbeat scanner.
Well, indeed. It's all about the scanning onto this admin side of the map. You can see how many are on rappel. In fact, in the show at the start of the day, we saw on the desk at the very start where Hap showed us the play of the week from last week with the double run out coming through main lobby door that netted a 2K for Kavana. It was beautiful to watch, and here that info is being fed back and forth once again. Crying the opening death in this round for Rogue, and it's quite early on, about the first 60 seconds or so. So trying to do something a bit cheeky, I imagine, being caught out for it and having to pay the price.
And a dear price it might be. This is not a site that you can afford to lose too many attackers on because you're working on 2 separate floors. So what ends up happening then is you can't apply any pressure to the basement floor at a point where a plant is going down. So the defenders that are left down there basically have the run of the place and can just take their time over denying that plant attempt. And that will come about if there are too many defenders lost here. You know, it's not an easy scenario to play back out of.
I'm wondering what the play here is for Team Secret, if they want to try and assault onto the downstairs or if they just want to try and make a plant work. In fact, Pat Bull, that is a naughty kill through the drone hole as well onto Rips. Don't think he was expecting that one, Ace.
I don't think anybody would have been expecting that one, Des. It's a great angle to find, and that's something that's really impressed me from Team Secret in this round. Look at the angles that they are using quite often across 2 floors. Now, Corey, he manages to find a great headshot up the Visa stairs onto Hive, bringing us back to a 4 versus 3. But down comes the nade. The information fed in as to where that shot had come from, and what a down it leaves us now. Effectively 1 versus 4 for Leon. He will be able to pick Corey up, but with 30 seconds left to go, there is plenty of time for Team Secret to finish things off.
Still got the C4 in the back pocket here on Leon as well, but there's so many targets moving around. He's got to decide which one. Could this be a double coming through on the table? I think it'll connect here. In fact, no, Leon goes down from Sleben, so not quite a trade coming out, but this plant should now get stuck. And here we go, bottom of Visa for Keenan. Secret close it out and they pull into the lead. It's 5-4, and Rogue must be in a bit of a panic now. They are in free fall as this game is slowly starting to slip away from them.
Essential kill from Sleben coming in there to just slow things down and prevent Leon being able to get that full denial that he was going for. He managed to get 1 kill. I don't know if he still had his nitro left at that point, but if he did, then it's an absolute freebie onto the planter. But Sleben able to just get in and prevent that from happening, and that was close. But Sleben able to just help Secret get it over the line, and Rogue right now, they're in free fall. There's no surprise seeing a tactical timeout come out here.
Not at all here. I mean, it's there to be used as well. You may as well use it when you know that you're starting to lose the game, when it is slipping away from you, and that's exactly how things are going. That's kind of considered the offside by many teams, it's worth mentioning as well, and they've just been, rolled over by Secret. So we started off this game saying, man, Rogue taking what ground they need, really good executes, going for executes with the plant constantly going down here. Secret look absolutely lost, and now we're saying the same thing about Rogue. So I'm glad they've had the timeout. I'm glad they've had a discussion. I wonder if this is now enough to swing it back towards Rogue and see a balance as we head towards that potential 12th round that would career us into overtime to settle things in a final best of 3. And I think starting side could be a pretty big deal if it comes around to that, looking at how this game has played out so far.
At the minute, Des, we're going to have to see a big change on the back of that tactical timeout for us to even entertain the thought of overtime, to be honest. Yep. Rogue are just you know, absolutely getting rolled over at the minute. And if that continues here, Secret are going to win this before Rogue know what to do or have any opportunity to change it around. They're going down to Garage. We've seen them defend that back in round 8, and Secret have won every attack so far. So, you know, they won on Garage. And there is the potential for them to do it again. And we just get a look at that nasty angle. Look at that. Through the drone hole, through the soft wall. I tell you what, that's a 1 in 1,000 kill, is that?
Yeah, the chances of that lining up regularly, basically nothing. It's the only way I can look at it. Yeah, with the Electric Claw going up, should be able to catch a couple of these walls, and normally there is one to the left. I like what we saw from G2 the other day, actually. They used one, I think, that was like right under the double cabinets, the silver cabinets, rather than under this little like control panel. You can put it underneath the actual like double silver things off to the left, and that still reaches the wall. That was a really fascinating one that wasn't spotted until quite late in the round.
No, and these are the things that can waste an awful lot of time, Des. You know, that's where we can find ourselves in those late round situations whereby the clock is ticking by because a lot of time's been wasted. Hive comes in with a massive headshot onto Leon. Leon just strolling past the spiral stairs there, and you have to be aware of that rappel.
You've got to be super aware of it is the only way I can describe it, because now Secret are starting to focus on getting this wall opened up. Frag grenade comes through. Kite Electroclaw is removed. Now they can get this wall opened up, as with both of them deployed, there is nothing else to stop this coming out unless Corey can go for an impact all the way through. No, he can't. Doesn't connect. Doesn't destroy the exothermic. They will be able to pull this off, and with it opened up so early on and the opening kill onto Leon, this is looking like another solid round coming out for Secret.
You've got to get that impact nade just absolutely perfect to get it through the drone hole without catching anything, but also to explode at the right point to still take the exothermic charge off. It is not an easy one, and we see exactly why there as the breach does get opened. Hive is on that upside down rappel that we see Sloth from Kavana use so often to great effect. We'll see if Hive can have any joy. I tell you what, if anybody's going to hit a shot from there today, Des, it'll be Hive. Keenan, he finds Rips completely unaware in piano, and that leaves us now 5 versus 3, and Rogue are clinging onto a cliff face here with the fingertips.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to pull out an individual player here, but I remember Kanto on this map being caught a lot, just standing like a deer in headlights. And actually, in the very first game that G2 played in this map, it was the same story for Kayak, just being caught from random windows and angles that you'd say normally you should be able to cover for those. 2 Rogue members have been caught in the same way, but now they're fighting back. There's something coming out from Aces, but no, it turns out Secret say this one is going to bed. Aces, the last one left alive here on the smoke, gets the triple. He's into a 1 versus 1 against Keenan, the new boy, and he gets the quad. Rogue are going to keep it alive and keep the candle burning. It goes to 5 and 5.
Well, I think we've just seen our play of the week there, Des. That was an unreal clutch from Aces coming in there, particularly them 2 final kills. I think the fact that the diffuser was down in the middle of sight was really helpful to him because it just enabled him to be able to focus on where the attacks were going to come from. I'm not sure if he knew that diffuser was down or not, whether it was one of his kills that dropped it and therefore he saw it. It probably was, given that he got 4 on the round. Boy, did Rogue need that from Aces.
Big time, yeah. I mean, realistically, in that kind of situation as Secret, you're looking at, and again, it's one of those times that we always like to say, just to kind of dampen the mood a little bit, for a player to have a big clutch like that, there has to be a misplay on the other side. And for Secret, it was constant 1v1s being taken against them. Admittedly, some of them unforced. It's always hard to predict where a player is going to be at a given time, so you can set up the perfect cross angle, but they're a little bit scrappy. And here we go, some replays from that round. That opening kill onto Leon, just walks into it for free, and this is the big one really. Sees the man outside, spins onto the one guy, steps back across to let Keenan come in after a reload and gets the shutdown on him too. Beautiful stuff coming out, and as said, that could be the saving grace for Rogue. That could be the thing that sends them into a 7-5 win, or potentially into overtime, assuming of course Secret don't just walk away with 2 rounds in a row here after all those heroics coming out from Aces.
Round 11 then, we will be seeing all 12 rounds here, so there is the potential for overtime on the cards as what a surprise. Potential for overtime on the cards as well. We'll see how that one plays out, but only one of these teams are going to take the opportunity to close this out in regulation time. Whoever wins this round will get 1 attempt at that match point opportunity. Keenan out there from range with the Nomad, just applying those air jabs, so Team Secret just getting themselves set up here for some window play onto the top floor.
We already know how dangerous these windows could be. Rogue learnt that in the previous round. The reverse angle there is this time, coming out from Rogue's side. Almost managing to bring down Hive, but he is still in one piece, of course. No down but not out state. If you are put down to just below 0 HP when you're on the rappel, you will instantly die. So that would have been a man gone down with all the utility still in his back pocket, looking towards those impacts and the concussions. But fortunately for the side of Secret, Hive does walk away, albeit one bullet from death.
Still 5 versus 5. We hadn't had an opener just yet. Corey will take some damage. There is chip damage on both sides. Hive and Corey both very similar in terms of the hit points that they have remaining. Packbull just going to burn those 2 laser gates out, so that's going to allow him to get up onto the console rappel and start to apply some pressure inside of sight. We've got the Yokai drones, which we've seen be so effective here inside of Consulate today. There's been plenty of action for them. They're going to be used mostly to gain information at this point in time, but as the round goes on, they may have a more valuable use. Leon underneath just waiting for those laser gates to re-enable themselves. It'll take 1 shot onto each and they will re-engage.
The laser gates re-engage. Honestly, mate, I could listen to it all day. All day long. It's what the people want to hear. You know what else they want to hear? The sound of Leon going down as he cries, he screams. Shut down at least once for a second before Hive is traded back out. It was about time that he went down as well, given his HP being completely fair. But a 4 versus 4 with 60 seconds to play or so, things start getting dicey here for Team Secret. Going to have to start upping the ante a little bit, piling on the pressure. On the side of Rogue, I'm looking towards those Echo drones. There's one inside a piano, I believe, waiting to hop up through that hatch and absolutely ruin Team Secret's day.
Rip's just buzzing round, and we're seeing these Yokai drones be used like this much more for, as I say, informational purposes. Being used as the equivalent as one of those attacker drones sometimes, just coming in and buzzing around the map, trying to gather information and feed it into the roamers. Now, Packbull, he goes into sight, starts to put that diffuser down. I don't know how much information there is for the players underneath to try and deny this plan. Packbull's just continuing on through sight. Will find a kill onto Rips, but downed, and that puts the diffuser on the ground as well. 2 versus 2 effectively, with Packbull out of the running. 20 seconds left to go. They've
got to make a push right now for this one. With the 2 of them standing up, Corey goes for Gonfi. Doesn't manage to finish him up. Puts him to about 65 HP. The double push comes in. A triple coming out from Sleben. They'll recover the diffuser and should be able to get this plant down, but they've got the shield. How has he lost that one behind a shield? It's into the 1 versus 1 here. Plant is getting stuck down. They're going to have to finish it off all the way. But Roundkey comes. Does he know where he is? No, he doesn't. Sleben, he's still up. He's in a 1 versus 1. Crying rotates off towards vending machine, but does Sleben know? Or does Crying know? Sorry. They're playing a bit of a ring around the roses here. Going to try and stick the defuse, but Sleben should have heard this one from a mile away. Crying comes off, charges round, gets shot down to about 10 HP. He's trying to bait in the push here. Goes for the spray. Sleben, he's got everything. 100 HP versus 10. He's got time on his side here. All he's got to do is keep on playing the bait game. In he comes, and Sleben will win it out. Team Secret, they move to match point. It's 6-5, but my God, is it close.
We are just seeing contender after contender here for Play of the Day, Play of the Week, Des. I mean, Sleben there, effectively 1 versus 1, and still has the nerve to get that diffuser down on the ground and activated, and then wins out that final gunfight against Crying. It's just great to see from both sides. We have Aces in a big 1v2 clutch down on the bottom floor, finishing off a 4K. Then we have Sleben in a super tense top 4 plant. I don't know how much more of this I can take.
Don't forget as well, by the way, this isn't the full kill leaderboard that you're seeing. We had that rehost in round 3 or 4, I forget which one. So there are some kills missing. We'll make sure that you guys have got full, complete stats available to you after the game. All I know is that this is really heating up to a climax at this point. Round 12, completeness of regulation time. Me and Ace in overtime games seems to constantly be a staple. Most overtime games that we cast at SI was ridiculous, and this one feels like it could go the same way. With it coming as close as that 1v1 in the closing round just a second ago, and with how well Rogue attacked this site in their attacking half, you'd think they know a thing or two about defending it.
You would certainly expect so, and we're going to find out exactly how much they know over the next 3 minutes. There's not only that, we're going to find out a little bit about their resilience and character as well. How well can they fight back in this tough situation? They were 4-1 up at a point, and Team Secret, they have reeled them all the way back in. It's been a long, hard fight, but we find ourselves in round 12, and it is 6-5 advantage Team Secret, but they will only get 1 bite at this cherry. Otherwise, we will be going to a best of 3 overtime, with the first first to take 2 rounds, coming away the ultimate winner. And to be honest, as you start making a case to say that both of these teams probably deserve something out of this game, and that will be the case if we go to overtime now. Hive looking to catch those peekers out again, but not this time. Rogue have learnt the lesson.
It was the excellent team play coming out from Secret on this attack last time around. If you recall, Leon was in a prime spot on the pulse with the C4 in hand to deny the plant coming down onto the wooden table inside of Tellers. But unfortunately, he got shot by Sleben before he could pull the trigger on the C4, so good covering coming out from Team Secret. And Rogue probably know what went wrong, where they lost the key members, where they didn't have control anymore, and what it is they need to do to be adapting. Leon, once again, feeding all this information back and forth, knows that there's going to be 3 members on the admin side. Gives you a good idea. There'll be 1 or 2 more hanging out towards yellow, or potentially pushing in towards front lobby. Right now, it's Hive up inside a meeting, I think, looking to do some contestation work from that particular place.
Hive drops himself back down onto the balcony now. Meanwhile, we've got Aces just rotating back to site with Cryin as well. Cryin, of course, on the Oryx has that ability to jump up hatches, so doesn't need to use the staircases to get himself back into the fight quickly here. You know, there is a conceivable method whereby he gets himself up into lobby and then straight up into meeting, and within 10 seconds or so he's back on the top floor ready to challenge on the flank. So it's something that Rogue need to think about potentially in the late round, and something that Team Secret need to be aware of. But as it stands, we've just reached a little bit of an impasse, a little bit of a stalemate in the mid round here, as the attackers, Team Secret, just slowly build towards a final execute.
I'm always nervous when I see mainly an Oryx, I guess, off on the roam. Me and you reference it all the time. The only time we've really seen a big successful play coming out of an Oryx was Skadinia in Latam, coming up the Villa Study hatch, running up towards
You've
Trophy
remembered
and
who
Statuary.
this time?
Huh?
You've remembered his name?
Yeah,
this
he's got
time?
a cool... He actually retired recently, didn't he? Or stepped back from playing. I can't remember.
Yes.
Yes,
He did.
I remember him. He had a big, like, 2K, 3K coming up from Study up towards Trophy and Statuary. Enemy team had no idea he was coming. And that's the fantasy that everyone's got about Oryx, of course, in terms of game fantasy. And in terms of what you can achieve with him, that was the ultimate play. We don't really get to see it all that often, but it's the mobility and the fear that he can create, I think, if nothing else, as well as the ability to immediately smash through walls that can catch teams off guard. Here, Secret have got themselves in a spot. Opening kill onto Rips with 30 seconds to go. Now we've got Patbull up here. Can they get this angle all the way through? No, the C4 comes up but doesn't connect. Can he spray him from this angle? I'm pretty sure he probably could, but the man coming downstairs, it's going to be Sleben on Spiral, finds the second. Cryin will trade that one back out. Hive back and forth onto Aces. 4 versus 2. Secret might just steal this one at the bitter end of it. They've got about 20 seconds here, Corey and Cryin, to bring this one back over the finish line, but there's 4 men to bring down. Keenan finds one of those. It's a 1 versus 4, and something tells me Corey can't do this all by himself. He will find 1 kill, but there is not a chance in hell that Secret give him enough time. They have persevered despite the rocky start to this game. They will bring down Rogue, and Secret, surprising a lot of people, are going to find 2 wins in their first couple of play days.
What a performance from Team Secret there to close out the game. They had 1 opportunity to do that in regulation time, take the full 3 points, and they have absolutely nailed it. They've come through and sent a real message over those first 2 play days.
Definitely some shaky stuff to look at, I think, at the very start of that map. Again, about Rogue's attacks, they were sublime, really good in the first 4 rounds. But then Secret definitely warmed into it a little bit. We had that timeout. They started to recover. Before you know it, it's Rogue who are the ones that are calling a timeout to try and find a way to answer